Hello, everyone, and welcome to Research Leads. Like I promised, I am back today again here with another episode of Market Trailblazers. And I have someone from the research background with me. And like I said last time, there is an important topic pending which we haven't spoken, and that is research. And Gail Conn, who's my guest today, is not just a guest, but also a person who co-manages the group research leads along with me. We work together on many things, and we share many interests and so on. So uh, most of the people on my group or Gail's following, I mean, we are already known to them because we have actually been sharing comments, a lot of content, and also discussions and stuff like that together. So that is one. And uh, there are some questions that have been often asked. People approached me with, since I'm from a research background too, and also from marketing. I mean, what are the initial things that have gone wrong in my business, and where did where did I get stuck, and why did it happen? So, for the benefit of such people, I have heard this question so many times that I just wanted to have one episode addressing these questions for the benefit of so many others who could listen in. And in this group, research leads, they are not just entrepreneurs, trainers, mentors. There are a lot of people who are who have established new businesses and trying to enter new markets. So this is actually an episode that's going to be very helpful to such people. So welcome, Gail. Thank you very much for taking the time to join me today. So why don't you just give me a quick introduction of what you do as a researcher, and just tell us about a little bit about your the kind of companies that you've worked with, assisted, your achievements, and so on.
Sure. Okay. So I've been in the research business for, count them, 19 years, and I've been an entrepreneur for 19 years.
That's a long
And
time.
that is a very long time. And I actually came out of the tech space. I had worked for IBM for a while in the 90s, and then I went to work for a big startup called Broadcast.com.
Okay.
And that was Mark Cuban, who owns the Dallas Mavericks and is on Shark Tank, and who's a very famous entrepreneur. And I went to work for his company. And when I worked for his company for a little over a year and a half, and then we got sold to Yahoo. And Yahoo had bought our technology, thinking, and we were very excited at the time, thinking that we were going to be, going to be blasting off at this point. We got a big infusion of money. We got sold for $5.7 billion.
Mm-hmm.
And we thought, okay, this is going to really put us into the stratosphere, and we're going to be this hot company. Quite frankly, it was the opposite. What happened was Yahoo bought us and squashed the technology. So we were the first streaming media company.
Mm-hmm.
So we're talking about 2000. And imagine if they had any vision and they had done some research about the future of the market, and this is why I got into the research business, we could have been YouTube back in 2000. So because we didn't own any original content, but we were streaming content that was already established out there. Even things like the Victoria's Secret show, we put that online, and we did the Super Bowl. But needless to say, it galvanized me to go into the research business, because I realized that companies don't always know what they're doing, and they can make very big, costly mistakes, and essentially throw money down the drain, because they don't understand where the audience is moving and what the market will bear and the needs in the market. And that's what makes market research so interesting, because we really get to concentrate on what people want and understand. And sometimes people don't know what they want until you show them something.
Right.
And then they say, wow, I really like that.
Right. See, this question that I've heard very often here. You see, I work closely with market research companies, like I help them with business development,
Sure.
and then help them enter new markets and so on. So I have heard this from small companies. I mean, not those well-established companies who have actually been there for a while and actually understood the market. I mean, these are freshers who have asked me this question often. Where did I go wrong? What did I do wrong? What is that I should have done first, and what is that I didn't do? And after losing money, after losing time, after losing so much, it's like after 1 year down the line, so much money lost, after so much time lost, and then you start to think, I mean, where you had gone wrong and what you should have done before everything else. The answer is, of course, research. Right, that's where I come to in all my discussions. Tell us how important research is for startups, because many people from startups
Well,
are asking this question.
I think research is absolutely essential because nobody's working on a product or a service or an idea in a vacuum.
Hmm.
So there's always competition out there, either someone sort of starting out simultaneously, other people ahead of you. That's why when you do research, you're able to define very clearly your product and its attributes. What are you doing when you go to market? You're selling the attributes of the product, meaning what the product can do, the claims of the product, how it is um, how you're expressing it to your audience. So you have to be very, very, very clear about what the product can do and how it performs and what it's going to be in the marketplace. And you have to look at it competitively, because once you understand what drives people to buy that product, you get to understand a little bit more about how you're going to sell it to people, because you use that language to help sell your product. The other thing is, once you establish what the product is and the attributes of the product and your selling points, which you can do all through research, you then have to research the market. Who are you selling to? What are the people like? Are they big companies? Do they have 500 people? Do they have 10,000 people? And then you have to understand how you're going to talk to the people in those companies, because the speech that you talk to, or your selling points that you use for a small company may not be the exact same selling points you're going to use for a much larger company, because the ramifications of using that product are very different. So
Hmm.
you need to understand the persona and the people in those companies. What
Hmm.
do they do? What are their interests? What have they bought before? You have to, the more information you could gather on
Hmm.
the people you are selling to, the better. And even you must research what the companies are doing, what they've done. Maybe you can figure out a pocket, a way to get into them, because you can help them get into a market they're not in. So you
Hmm.
really have to understand what that company is doing. Even if it's a small business, you have to figure out how you can help them get to the next step, because what we are all trying to do is help companies grow. And the
Right,
only way we
right.
can do that is by doing our research, in
Right,
a sense.
right, 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 right. I agree. I agree. See, I've seen that. I've seen the model. I have studied the model of your tool, PhiPower.
Yes.
I've seen how it works. Can you explain a little bit how you have used PhiPower effectively and how it has helped your customers?
Absolutely. So my customers tend to be large corporations. I've worked with Intel, I've worked with
Hmm.
Cisco, I've worked with General Mills, Disney, these types of companies. So why people come to PhiPower is we're able to express research in very unusual ways, in that when we do a survey, it's not just a bunch of buttons and words. We show things to people. It makes it much more interesting. So when I say show things, we'll maybe animate something. It
Hmm.
could be printed material we'll animate.
Hmm.
Maybe we'll help a company build a video. Maybe we'll give people choice of looking at package design. Do you like this version? Let's blow up that. Oh, maybe we'll give you another version. We take a creative approach to research.
Hmm. Hmm.
So the interface of what we're presenting, it's not just a bunch of words and buttons. We 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 bring a very creative element which gets people engaged, because people don't want to take a research study that looks like a test,
Just text.
that they're
You're
going
right.
to get a driving license. Okay.
Yes, right.
So we want to make it interesting and engaging, and we get very high completion rates because of it, because we gamified the research survey and we made it more fun. And we can even get CIOs or CEOs or busy, executives, moms with kids, because it's easy. The other thing we do is we've gone into ways of making it much more creative by
Hmm.
using new elements, like building of your own, or voice, or um, things that get people to play around. And
Hmm.
we also do, obviously, and when we check to see if people are engaged, we know that when they answer an open-ended question, they tend to write longer sentences because they're into the process. And that
Right,
really is a
right,
validation, okay?
right, right, right,
That's
right.
pretty much
Got it.
what we
Yeah,
do.
got it. So basically, that's for it works much better for consumer goods. Works much better for
Well, we do consumer goods. We've worked in technology, consumer goods. We've done everything from package claims
mhm.
to, building granola bars to even helping companies when they're working on a wireframe. We can build out a wireframe and see
uh,
where there are disconnects because even software gets difficult for people. There's always a break off. Where is the problem?
can you just tell us a little bit about the litigation support that you help with?
Yes, yes. So we do a lot of litigation support around copyright, patent, trademark, false claims, deception, research, and obviously even implicit bias.
Uh-huh,
So we're able to hone in on very finite things simply because we're able to show things to people.
uh-huh.
And by showing them things, everybody is very clearly on the same page. There's very little chance involved.
Mhm,
We worked
mhm,
on a big case last year for a company called Tiffany's, and
mhm.
they were suing another company called Costco.
Uh-huh,
And Costco came out with a product that said they had Tiffany style engagement rings. Well, that is Tiffany has the trademark of Tiffany and their Tiffany style ring. Well, we were able to prove in court. Our study was the court case. Tiffany's won $20 million and another 10 in punitive damages in court because the
wow.
judge said, you clearly infringed on their trademark. And a punitive damage means that the judge is making very clear
Very
you
clear.
made a
Yeah.
giant mistake.
Mistake.
Okay,
Yeah.
so $30 million is a substantial sum of money. We did all the research for that project and helped Tiffany's win.
Wow. Wow. Wow.
So yeah, so we do a lot of this kind of work. Yeah.
See, in terms of startups, let's say companies which are like no more than, I'm talking about these small size companies. I mean, not too old too, something within say 5 years. Uh, can you just tell us maybe a couple of examples where such companies you have helped, worked with, helped, and made them and actually, what do you say? Created a situation for them where they could have made where they made a good market entry and their
Yes.
products or services worked well,
Right.
just for the benefit of all those people here who are
Sure.
new in business and they
Right.
understand how PhiPower could help.
Right. So I obviously will not talk about the names of the companies, but I can
Sure,
tell you
sure.
that we've worked with companies where they're coming out with a new product.
Uh-huh.
They're going to be entering the market.
Okay.
What should the what first of all, what should the shape of the packaging look like?
Uh-huh.
What are the claims of the package? And also what is the logo? And how much information should be on that package? Because you have to understand that packaged goods, particularly whether they're being sold from online or offline, they have to grab the attention of the audience. It has to
Right.
look some way that whether it's the name or
Mm-hmm.
even the ingredients and how
Mm-hmm.
they're putting out the ingredient names.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're very good at helping companies figure out that process very quickly. And so once you understand what the package, what the claims, and what all that information should look like, you have a better chance when you go to market because we're not only looking at that individual product, but we're looking at it competitively. And
Right.
we're able to understand what people are looking for. So in that case, we also helped companies. In this case, we were looking at what they call an interactive program guide. So companies that are putting out lots of information, whether it's on online or on television, we were able to build out the usability of that entire project, what people are looking at, what they're clicking on, and how to find things. Because when you have a fairly mature interface, you don't know how they find things. There's so much information. So we can do things called directed behavior, where we pull people to say, did you notice something? Did you see this?
Right.
It
Right.
saved this company millions of dollars because they were able to have the wireframe built out and people were able to interact with it before they actually went and built it. So when
Uh-huh.
you're building a software, maybe it's best to test the concept of the software
Uh-huh.
because you're at level 1, you're going to go to level 2, level 3, level
Level three.
4.
Right, right,
Yeah,
right,
right.
right,
What do you add? What do you add? What do you take away? Because
right.
as things become more mature, what do you want to put in it? Because people are going to give you feedback. You know what? If you added a search, if you added search, or if you added a new module. What should that new module be? You can't just add it because 3 people said it. You have to see statistically if a lot of people really want it. And if your business goes global, how is that going to be, working in India, or is going to work in England or France? I mean, you have to understand what the market will be in those countries, because what you say in one country doesn't necessarily work in
Right,
another.
right,
So we
right. I
do
agree.
all kinds of research around that. Yeah.
Right, right, right. Gail, have you also helped with something like a competitor analysis, understanding competition? How has PhiPower been involved there?
Yes, absolutely. So what's really interesting about doing competitive analysis is that if we look at companies in a competitive set, one of the things you can do is take the names of the companies off when you're looking competitively, and you put the drivers of those companies in a competitive set, and you ask people to answer questions based on what they choose when they're looking for a company, just say in technology, or
Hmm.
just say in automation, or just say in software. And you get to understand their behavior, what drives
Right,
their decision. So, and
right.
then you say, choose the name of the
Choose
company,
the name
and
of the
then
company.
you
Yeah.
see, right, exactly. So then you see how the brand lives within that decision making process.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
either some companies need to strengthen their brand,
Sure.
some companies need to bring their brand
Mhm.
conversation in earlier. I
Yes.
mean, we get to understand what drives the decision. So we can do all
Right,
kinds of things around
right.
brand and decision making.
Right. Gail, we are kind of probably coming to the end of our time
Sure.
slot here. This is just a few questions that I had. I have more in-depth questions on PhiPower, and also the practice of research, basically how qual and quant can actually help newcomers. I mean, those people just starting off, new business owners or new entrepreneurs. So that is something I plan to have. I wanted to have a few questions now itself. I mean,
Sure.
actually, I
Okay.
could not. We can have another session probably by end of this month or maybe early next month,
Perfect. Perfect.
where we can
Right.
have another round and then answer something pertaining to qualitative and quantitative research. So those are
Absolutely.
where we can address some very basic questions, and also that can be part two of the same discussion, right?
Terrific. I'm
So we
looking
will
forward
do
to it.
that.
Thank
So
you.
before we wind up, what are those few, maybe just 2 or 3 tips that you would want to give beginners in terms of research and what they need to do?
Well, I think that, uh, you know, I think first of all that anybody who's starting a company must need to, even if they're doing a small survey,
Hmm.
send it out first to friends and family, and then ask those friends and family to send it out to somebody else so that they get a little bit of feedback,
Hmm.
to get to understand how people even think about the concept
Hmm.
or like it,
Hmm.
because you can't ask just your husband or your wife or
Right,
your children,
right.
because of course they're going to love
They'll
it,
be
and you have
biased.
to go
Yeah.
to anonymous people. They're too
Yes.
biased, right?
They're
And
too
you want to
biased.
get
Right.
away from that bias, so
Right.
you have to ask random people, and then start building, some statistical information, because that will give you an understanding of how people are going to feel about your product, and you have to start getting that, and then testing 2 different versions of something. It's something that we call in research called A/B testing, where
Hmm.
you're
Hmm.
testing one version of something
One version.
and then
Yeah.
test another, and then
Right.
compare them, because that'll give you some information to begin with, whether it's a statement about your company, whether it's actually the product, uh, or the service or whatever, and that will give you start to understand that. Then you also have to start building the persona of your audience. Who do you really want to sell this product to? And then go soft.
Yes. Yes.
Start talking to one person, and then, try and say, somebody who's a soft target, meaning somebody that you might know, but ask them a group of questions that you feel you're going to need to answer about your product. And the more information you start to gather, that will help you build speed to really go to market to a real customer.
Sure, sure, sure. Yeah, that's a great answer. Fantastic. Uh, this thing about personas that you just brought up, this is one question I would like to reserve for the next round of discussion,
Okay.
where
Okay.
we will talk a little more in depth and detail about how you understand and build customer personas. I mean, basically for people who are trying to sell something like maybe a consumable product or a consumer product, this is something very important for them to understand. And I'm not just saying it's only those people who need to understand customer personas. Everyone needs, but to them it has more validity. I mean, more reason why they should understand their customer in depth first, right? So that's something we
Yeah.
will talk in the next, I think, episode. We will leave it to that. Anything else you'd like to add?
No, just the thing that I'd like to say to everybody is that language becomes extremely important about how you express your company, because
Hmm.
particularly in particular categories, everybody uses the same language.
Right.
So it's really important to look at what your competition is doing and
Hmm.
understand that, to make sure that you say things that are really personal also to you, that
Right.
reflect your brand. Because
Right.
the more you do that, the better it is you'll be able to stand out to your customer.
Right. Thank you very much.
Okay?
Yeah, I think today's discussion has been a little technical, but that was needed. We had to
Sorry.
discuss. No, no, that's absolutely fine. I actually had this
Okay,
intention
cool.
of bringing up a very technical topic and discussing it a little more in detail, so that we can give out more information, something that's more useful,
Right.
more
Okay.
in depth. See, we see more a lot of people out here talking about. I mean, these are kind of repetitions of interviews I've seen. Most people talk about life skills. There are so many hundreds of life skill mentors here. The same kind of things are being repeated. We do not find people who can speak about certain technical topics that will actually help a trade, help someone. I mean, this is something, what my group has, what I plan to do for my group, bring in more of technical speakers.
Mm.
So what happened today is, I mean, just even the last interview that I had with this lady, Shay Robottom, I'm sure you have seen that interview. It was on a technical subject. She was an expert. She is an expert on video marketing, and she's done a lot of good work here. So, I mean, that's something that I'd like to keep going, bring in a lot of technical people, and have a lot of technical discussions. So, thank you very much, Gail, and also feel
Thank
free to
you.
share
Thank you,
this
Saeed.
interview with your audience on any other portal too,
Yes,
where you
of
have.
course.
And guys, like I said, like I always ask you to do, I'd be happy to see your comments and your questions. Post them below after I have posted this video. Anyone wants to reach out to Gail, we'll have a link to her page. You can drop a question there, or probably, Gail, can you also share your email address if that's okay with you?
Yes, of course. Sure. It's Gail, Gail, at PhiPower, POWER.com.
After I post this video, why don't you, as a in a comment, just put in
Okay,
your email address
I
there, so
will.
in case
Okay, I
somebody has
will.
a
Okay,
question or
great.
a query, they can reach
Okay,
you directly. So it
super.
was really
Okay,
nice talking to you. Time well spent on a very technical and important topic. So I'll be back again next week with another video, another awesome professional. So till then, have a good weekend, and thank you very much.
thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.